Did I end up getting a fine after using my hand phone cradle? How badly was I hurt after testing my 1910 bike suspension? And other assorted questions, because today's video is a bit of a catch-up. It's been a while since I've done one of these, so let's get into it. Catch-up time. Catch-up time. So you may remember a while back, I thought I'd test out the capabilities of Australia's newly installed police AI safety cameras. But to catch you up if you're not familiar, these new safety cameras are designed to catch phone usage while driving and seatbelt offences. So the plan was that I would make a perfect replica of my arm out of plaster, and then use this as a phone holder in the car while driving. This would hopefully confuse the AI and would be able to tell if they were actually human reviewed, because this should be pretty obvious to a human reviewer if there's a driver with 3 arms. So one of the biggest questions I've been getting on my channel lately is, did I get a fine in the mail? And the answer is no, luckily, which is good because I didn't want to have to go into court to explain what my driver's hand job apparatus was. But yeah, it's something I reckon I might revisit again in the future. All right, just having a look at some of the comments from that video as well. I'm at 11 minutes in and I'm watching a guy that's supposed to be outsmarting AI get his arm stuck in a cast for the second time. Yes. I thought the whole plaster thing would be a lot easier than it was, to be honest. It's cheaper. I don't have to drive somewhere miles away to buy stuff to do the proper alginate method. Yeah, not that easy. The amount of research for the 30-second orthopedics bit versus the amount of research for doing the cast. Yeah, the orthopedic bit, I actually had to learn that. I didn't go train. I mean, just the research. I had to pull a bunch of info from these random medical research documents and try and make it make sense, like a feasible way, because I'm actually working on plaster. Did shaving your arm before the cast not cross your mind for a single second? I did grease my arm up and I thought that would be enough, because I thought you've got greasy hair there. Surely the plaster's gonna pull away from that, and it didn't give a shit. The plaster did not give a shit. Okay, moving on to the other question I've been getting a lot, and that is what happened with that bike crash and what went wrong exactly. So let's cover that. So if you're not familiar, I've got a bit of a series on my channel where I look at vintage life hacks. But the one I looked at was for this dodgy setup for front bike suspension. The dumbest thing of all. I could see this was the hazard. There's a chance the clamps could come loose or the springs could break. And if that happens, the front wheel would just go up into the forks and then wedge itself there, jam, and just horrendously lock up. And that's exactly what played out. So I had a plan on how I'd prevent that from happening. So it was this complete redundancy. So if the springs broke or the clamps failed in some way, it wouldn't cause you to have a bike crash or go over the handlebars. And I just never got around to doing it. It was one of those days where I was rushing to get just the last bits of the project done. I thought, no, we got to get this finished. I'll just give it a bit of a go. I'll just go really slow, and that's all I did. Just going around the shed a few times, it was handling beautifully. It was working perfect. And then I'll just do one ride down the hill over the bump, and it just catastrophically failed. And the wheel went up and it just locked brutally. Like, it locked up worse than if someone stuck a stick in your spokes. Front wheel was more forward than it normally would be on a bike. So that's what hit my chest. So I went over and the full force went into my chest. So I mean, that was good because it stopped my head hitting the ground. But if the wheel wasn't there, maybe I could have tucked through it a bit more. Like, I think in my mind, I was planning just to fully roll over with it. So yeah, went forward, hit my chest, then kind of like went sideways, hit my head on the ground, hit everything. So injuries in the end, I had just like some slight bumps on my head. I had a tire mark on my chest, so it hit me perfectly right in the sternum. Yeah, had x-rays and stuff, but they couldn't see any fractures. Hurt to breathe for days after that. The other thing that was bad is just like it scared Kristen, because she was the one filming and she thought, okay, this is like really serious. So it was a bit of a shake up. The bike's still sitting there in its busted state. I haven't done anything with it. But yeah, safety before deadlines, and I guess just keep fit and agile if you can as well. That definitely helped take a bit of a hit. But yeah, the video went crazy on Instagram. Got a lot of views over there. Shame we don't actually see any money from that, because that's what Meta's like. But yeah, people just think it's AI. It's like, what? I almost died. So moving on, I just thought I'd answer some of your random questions you put through. I put a call out just for any questions about anything. Is there a project you wanted to work on, but your wife didn't agree with it? e.g. too dangerous, inconvenient, and was it shelved? As far as too dangerous, she pretty much says like most of the things I'm thinking, that sounds really dangerous. She hasn't said no though. She said, you know, that just sounds dangerous. Maybe like little things like, I thought, oh, maybe I could have just a little go on the airbag sled just to see how that feels, but I wasn't allowed to have a ride on it with an airbag. How many old failed projects or ones that were just a pure pain to make you filmed but never published? I think this is 2008, but it was the first video I ever made which was intended for a YouTube audience. That one's still sitting there and I'm gonna finish it one day. I've filmed lots of bits for it over the years. I won't share that one yet. I'm just gonna upload it randomly one day. What camera are you holding in your profile picture? That's a good question. I've got it here. This is the one here. It's a 8mm camera, not Super 8. I don't think it's Super 8. It's just normal 8mm camera. Crown 8 with its 3 lenses. I think it's in my profile picture because I think it was just sitting there on the shelf when I was getting a profile picture. I'm like, oh, I'll just grab that. Kristen and I've actually got a bit of a random collection of old cameras. 12 to 32 frames per second. How good's that? Just purely mechanical. Don't you like stuff like that? What's your work background? You seem very at home in the shed. It's good questions. Work background, photography and video. So yeah, it's actually, that's how Kristen and I actually met. We met studying film and television at TAFE. And then we went on to work in the industry, doing more like commercial type stuff is what we focused on. And now focusing more on YouTube. You seem very at home in the shed. I've just always done that stuff. Like my dad is very much like that. And he was a muffler fitter. So I had access to a workshop when I was young so I could just tinker with stuff. And we had basic tools at home as well. It's amazing some of the stuff you can get done at home with the most basic tools. We just had a patio, so I'd just do stuff out there on this old ass table. Basic tools, always using the wrong tool for the job because you just didn't have something else. Do you have any plans for collaborating with other YouTubers? If the internet managed to drag Mark Rober out here for science, you must surely be able to nag Adam Savage into getting onto a plane. I think it was actually one of his videos on YouTube about his toolbox, and that's what inspired part of my arrangement with my work area with this, how I've got my tools laid out, because it was the same sort of philosophy. I like quick access to everything. Have out as much as you can, but it be organized. Do you have any plans for collaborating with other YouTubers? I don't have any plans to, like where I'm based is hard because it's so distant from pretty much everywhere in the world. But if I do anything with other YouTubers, it would be because like I want to, not like for the sake of just doing a collaboration for views. I know a lot of channels do that and it probably helps them a lot, and that's why they're all they're all doing better than my channel because they do stuff like that. But you know, I just want to do it if they're a good person and it just seems like it would be a fun thing to do. I did actually do a bit of a collaboration with Aussie Man Reviews. I just thought it'd be fun to have him in one of the videos because he's not actually too far from me. And he's a good bloke, and I actually met him originally because we just have mutual friends. That's what it's like in Australia. Everyone knows everyone. Should I move to your country? Australia is a great country. You know, not everyone's cup of tea though, I guess. It's quite isolated. For if you travel anywhere, everywhere is expensive to go to because you're so far. Should you move here? I don't know. Are you looking to move somewhere? Dad, can we have pizza for dinner? No, you had pizza last night. What's the best way to toast a sandwich without a sandwich toaster? I don't know, anything that involves fire or electricity. Maybe just putting a spanner between terminals of a car battery. That'll do it. Always an iron though, that's a classic. The old iron trick. Perfect sandwich press. Scariest moment filming a video. Also, if I can ask too, when collab with Explosions and Fire? Okay, Explosions and Fire, I have seen that channel now. Someone mentioned it in my arc lamp video, because apparently he did a video where he needed a source of UV light, like a strong source of UV light, and that's what the arc lamp is best known for. I don't know which of his videos though, that's how I found his channel. If anyone knows, put that in the comments. From what I've seen of his channel, it would be very helpful for my car airbag endeavors. But scariest moment filming a video. I don't know. I think it's just like when you have little near misses with tools or like grabbing something hot and you almost burn yourself. Some of the scarier projects, like the concrete fidget spinner, like I really didn't know how that was gonna behave. I'd hoped it would stay together and I was safe with how I set everything up, but that was pretty wild, that thing. That got a fair bit of speed up there. It's a big old chunk of concrete spinning in your shed. Actually, obviously the other one is the bike crash. Yeah, the spring spike on the bike seat, that was a little bit scary. Even just compressing the spring, actually. Springs can hold a fair bit of energy, and a spring like that, even compared to a car spring, it's got a lot of travel, so there's a lot of energy to be released. So that was actually a little bit scary, come to think of it. So what cameras, lenses, and editing software do you use? I mostly use Canon cameras. I actually use a few different cameras, especially like slow-mo stuff. We use like this Sony camera. Yeah, digital SLRs in the Canon range is our flavor. Editing using Premiere at the moment. I want to move to DaVinci Resolve, just because like I hate the Premiere's whole subscription model thing. But yeah, and I've got a few questions here from over on Patreon. How did you meet your wife? We met studying film and television. What do your kids think about your YouTube career? Are they? Yeah, they like it. They're like, yeah, it's cool, it's fine. It'd be good to get them out in the shed building stuff more. They're old enough now, get them on the tools. Which projects were not as appreciated by your audience as you thought they deserved? Which projects surprised you by how much your audience appreciated them? It's hard to tell, like I feel like the audience appreciates most of the projects that I've done, or I hope so. I guess there's a difference between the audience and like the YouTube algorithm. Even like my most recent video, the car airbag one, that's done like really badly for the YouTube algorithm, but people like the project. Maybe the cooler drone video, people still like the project. It was probably just the execution of how I did the video, because the video style was a bit different. It was more of like a mock commercial, but I don't think people realized how much work went into actually making it, or even if it was real, because some people were just thinking it's CGI. So I did a follow-up video just like running through how it all worked. I mean, maybe that one. Which project surprised you by how much the audience appreciated them? That would definitely be the police AI camera one, because by the time I was finishing that up, I'm like, what have I done here? I've basically got my arm stuck in plaster. I've spent way too much time trying to make just the plaster hand. And then at the end of it, I haven't actually got a result because it would take too long to wait for that result. So it's basically me making an artificial hand and then driving past the camera is what you could summarize the video to. So that definitely surprised me how much the audience appreciated it. How do you keep in such good physical shape? Well, thank you, Kyle. I reckon the secret to that is don't stop moving. Never stop moving. I'm doing a lot of kite surfing in recent years, and that's pretty intense physically. With actively doing sports like kite surfing, you want to keep in good shape just so you don't injure yourself, so you can actually take a hit, because you take some big stacks. So just like keeping your body conditioned, like your ankles, flexibility, that sort of stuff goes a long way. Keep active. Don't stop moving. What was involved in building the launcher for the 2-second shot of you getting hit by the flying gun in the cat repellent series? How long did it take to build, and how long did it take to get the shot? That was actually an easy one. When I do like random little cutaway scenes like that, there are some that are way harder. You look at the final shot and it's literally 5 seconds, but there's so much time that goes into getting that shot. But the gun launcher hitting me for that 2-second shot, that was just Kristen throwing it at me. Not a real gun, by the way, because that would have hurt more. Oh! Anytime I think, oh, I'm gonna add this joke in, it's also like, is this gonna be like a whole separate day filming somewhere? So you've got to kind of pick and choose. If making videos isn't your full-time job, what do you do for a day job? But yeah, it is. Making videos. I really like your humor. Does it come naturally, or do you research really hard for a joke? Well, thanks for that. I'm glad you like the humor. I don't think I'm that funny. Sometimes like, I might think of just like a funny scene or something and I just write it down. I'm like, okay, I want to include that. I reckon that would be pretty funny. And then some things I'm just recording, I'll record the voiceover and just stuff comes out of my mouth and I just leave it as it is. And literally some of those times has actually worked out really well as far as jokes go. Like, it's landed quite well, apparently. Maybe that's just how it is in our household. I think we muck around a lot here. My daughter's actually got a file where she just writes down random crap that I say, not stuff that I've used in the video, just things that she thinks funny. And she's like, I have to write that down because that's such, I think she calls it dad quotes, just ridiculous dad quotes. So I guess I just say stuff. I say stuff, it just comes out. Yeah, with the humor, like it helps if you've got family, friends who they like to muck around as well. We have a pretty weird household. I'll put it like that. All right, I hope you enjoyed this bit of a sit down, a bit of a chat, a bit of a Q&A, look at some of the recent videos. Subscribe if you haven't. I would hope that people who are watching this video have subscribed. The YouTube channel is Turner81, and I'll catch you guys next time.
You wanna play ball? Yeah.